real quick.
Let's do number 4. Frode.
Frode!
Woo!
Hello.
Fan favorite.
Hello.
How are you this week?
I think this is my second time getting to talk with you, Frode.
Yes, hello. Have we talked before, Thomas? Have we?
I think I was on with Eric maybe a couple months ago. I think he called in.
Yeah,
okay.
Frode's a regular.
Yeah.
So what did you want to tell us about
Yes,
today?
I'm a regular. Hey, I was thinking I was going to talk about Mormonism. It's how I came into religion, and I wanted to hear your views on Mormonism, more or less. So I was thinking we could talk a little about the aspects of how people would get into Mormonism and why people would pick Mormonism and a little like that, and get your thoughts about it. I don't know if you guys have any experience with the Mormons.
I mean, yeah, somewhat. I have many ex-Mormon friends. I'm not anti-Mormon. Yeah, I mean, as far as what our opinion of Mormonism is, I can say that mine is it makes claims about reality, doesn't support them with evidence, and is in general a system that attempts to serve a community and does so insufficiently.
My take on Mormonism is I just had a live chat on my channel with a guy named Mr. Atheist, who's an ex-Mormon.
Yeah.
And it was the most hilarious hour and a half of my life just listening to what all they believe. And like, this is someone who he was in it. And then we got another caller on who was super in it, who has come down here to the ACA as well, named Brian. And just I was cracking up because the type of stuff that he was saying that like, okay, Mormons believe that Cain is Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And Bigfoot walks around as it's Cain, the guy who killed Abel in the Old Testament. They believe that there are Quakers on the moon, or at least they used to believe that.
I think they still do.
They used to believe that like we would never make it to the moon, and then we did multiple times.
Yeah.
And just some of this stuff, like the magic underwear that they wear that they think protects them from fires and bullets, and then it doesn't, and they die. It's Christianity plus extra bullshit. Joseph Smith was a known con man. There's, straight up evidence of him saying like there was a tablet that he got a hold of that had some Egyptian hieroglyphics on it, and he said that it was a early telling of the story of Abraham and Isaac, and it's Abraham sacrificing Isaac on an altar, and he transcribed down all the different hieroglyphics and said what they meant, and that was before we learned how to read it. That was before we learned what these actually say and how we can show with concrete evidence that it was actually an Egyptian burial ceremony. So yeah, there's a lot of craziness.
I was going to say, are you referring to the golden plates? Because
not the golden plates.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I was going to
different.
say he was also founded a religion in a time and place where people were founding religions left and right. So he was pretty much mainstream dude. Burnt.
Yeah, it's something about Mormonism, like their recruitment is like I said it to Chelsea, a screen caller, that one of the things that has surprised me maybe the most is their growth in Europe has been very big, and I think one of the reasons is because they have the Book of Mormon. People are not interested in the Bible anymore. People want the new hip thing, and there's something about that showing people something new in the Book of Mormon is very appealing to people.
Yeah,
and
but
I think
Frode,
that's one of the reasons.
A fresh turd is still a turd.
Well, I don't think he's arguing for the value of Mormon doctrine.
I mean, the fact that it's newer it makes it all the more demonstrably bullshit, because you can look at Scientology and it's even newer. And yet here's a religion where the guy, straight up said, if I wanted to make a lot of money, I'd make a religion. And then he just formed a cult and has, you actually look at the doctrines of it and it's so obviously bullshit. Mormonism, we actually have accounts of the ways that Joseph Smith would, con people. And, he lost the original transcription of it. And then, he tried to rewrite it, and then they found, I think they hid the original one.
Yeah, they said if he's really translating, we'll take the copy that he has and he'll translate it again and it will be exactly the same.
And it wasn't.
No. And then he came back and said, all right, well, because you did that, the angel is mad, so they're going to give me a different version. So it will be generally the same story, but it won't be identical. Which is a really great way of saying, yeah, I know, I remember the general gist of what I said, but not what it is word for word, so write it down again. Yeah. Coincidental.
Yeah, and it's kind of I totally agree with you, Thomas. A new third is still a third, but I think one of the reasons why it has had such a tremendously good growth in Europe is because people see two dressed men coming to their door with a new hip thing. And that's kind of one of the problems, and why I think Mormonism is so big. It's because they are ever changing. If you can change your religion to fit into society, of course you will grow tremendously, because it is more acceptable. I mean, it's not that long ago they didn't allow people of color inside their church. It's not that long time ago they teach that God lives on a place called Kolob.
I think they still teach that.
Yeah, that's still his planet.
Yeah, and they still teach that. So one of my main problems with Mormonism, and this is maybe the reason why I think it's harder to stop Mormons than normal Christians, and I'm saying that with a quote.
Yeah.
It's because they have this new thing that they can change forever. They can change their faith to fit into society.
Yeah. Well, that, and people aren't used to hearing, oh, no, but it's different now, from a church that's kind of like what they know but different, right? In the same way that I think people, there are many people in the U.S. that became very quickly and easily enamored with Buddhism was, oh, it's different and I don't really like that, and there's a whole back to nature idea in the public sphere, and then, oh, look, here's this new religious ideas from a land far away, and isn't that super cool? And now I know how to meditate, therefore the Buddha. And I think
more so with Hinduism.
Yeah.
See a lot of Eastern practices. It's like, oh, it's ancient wisdom. It's like, wait a second, you mean back before we knew how the world worked?
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say
but
ancient
do you
conjecture.
guys agree that I'm sorry, but do you guys agree that it's harder to stop someone with a new third, as you call it, because they can always reference back to that?
With a new what? Sorry.
With their new shit, with their.
I would say there's certainly advantages to having your religion be more fresh, as it were. You don't have baggage. There's not like, oh, well, you've been here for 5,000 years. That's so passé, right? Like, people that are at all interested in what it says, there's not a significantly developed counter-narrative, right? So Christianity has been around literally for thousands of years.
Not in its current form.
Yeah,
though.
not in its current form. Its current form has been around for less.
Well, and it keeps morphing. It keeps changing.
It keeps
constantly.
morphing, and yeah. So there's that.
Even now, you look at churches that 50 years ago would say, like, well, God hates fags.
Yeah.
And they would have signs. And now it's like, that's just the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah. Well,
and you would never see that in, I mean, there are churches still, but like, if you go to your run-of-the-mill, Baptist church, most of them are going to be like, well, God is just all about love the sinner, hate the sin. And they water it down. They very much water it down.
Presbyterian, Episcopalian, maybe. I was just sorry that more than a quarter of the American population is religious in a way that would say that gay is not okay. But not to undercut your point.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is that like the church as a whole has been slowly moving in a particular direction, and they used to be completely opposed to interracial marriages. That still happens in the States. That still happens, but it's much less than it used to be.
Yeah,
and you could say that has nothing to do with Christianity. You could also use Bible verses to show where they were coming up with these ideas. You know, and the Bible's been used to justify anything and everything. But the people who adhere to the religion and their worldviews have been morphing for centuries.
Yeah, and what I will say is
there's something to
you've learned from the religious mistakes of the past, and you have a very aggressive, well-organized recruitment process. So there's that advantage that the Latter-day Saints have.
And that's one of that's why I find it troubling to stop them. And also, I will say that going out of the Mormon Church is one of the hardest things to do if you because of the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon actually makes it harder for you to leave, because if the Book of Mormon is not true, then all you have based your life on is false. And I would say this to my Mormon friends, because I know people are listening that are Mormons. It isn't impossible to get out. It is very, very hard, but it is definitely worth it. And I am a living example of that. And I would never. But it's very hard to argument against the Book of Mormon and Mormonism, because it's like Thomas said, it's so changing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I will say is, like you said, it's difficult to get out, but it's worth it. There's community now, particularly.
Well, religions like that, they do tend to grow rapidly because they put forth a face, a front that is extremely friendly. They show up and they're like, hey, we're here to just love everybody. Come on down, be a part of this group, this community. And if you're a little introverted and you maybe don't get out and like meet a lot of people, you don't, partake in different communities or, different activities, all of a sudden people coming to you and offering you friendship, and they seem wonderful and happy and cheerful and stuff. It's extremely enticing. And then once you join, it's like you're a part of a community and they're there for you, and you start investing in it and giving tithe, and you start showing up every Sunday, and you feel like these people love you. You're willing to overlook a lot of BS and a lot of stuff that's wrong until you start seeing the harm that happens. And you see a lot of things that they're promoting that is straight up false and oftentimes very like pseudoscientific. And then you see cult-like manipulation tactics being used to, get you to believe or do things that you cannot morally justify. And when you try to leave, then there's cult-like tactics to shun you or to cut you off, cut you out of the community, kick you out. I know someone in Utah who, when pretty much the entire small town that he lived in was Mormon, and when he came out as an atheist, everyone stopped going to his business. Like the entire town just stopped going to his business, and he lost a tremendous amount of customers not because he was doing business tactics that were any different than before. It was the only difference was he said, I'm not a Mormon anymore, and the whole community shunned him. So there are huge incentives to, once you're in, to stay quiet about the fact that you no longer believe or that you want out, especially depending on where you live. And so I think that's one reason why churches like the Mormon Church and Jehovah's Witnesses have and Scientology that use cult-like tactics and are manipulative like that, why they grow so quickly.
Yeah, no, and I thank you guys for doing an amazing job, and I love you all, and I love the community.
Yeah, so we love you too, Frode.
Yeah, we love you too. Woo! Thanks for calling in, man.
Okay.
Have a good godless day. I get the feeling
you got all those godless catchphrases at the end. Yeah. Go without God.
No gods for me. God, who's that? Most of them are better than that. Let's see. Is it Sima in Japan?
Oh, geez. Hi, Jamie.
Hi.
Thomas, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Geez, so I called in a long time ago, and I spoke to it was Eric and Matt. Yeah, it was Eric and Matt. It was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I just want to give you guys a quick shout out. You guys are doing an amazing job.
Oh, thanks.
Sounds pretty cool. Yeah. I wanted to ask, so, okay, so I used to be a Christian. I used to be religious, and I'm not anymore. And
Congratulations.
one thing, thank you. One thing that's really stuck in my mind now is, are some of the people, especially politicians, are they truly religious or are they faking it? Because some of the things they do don't make any sense coming from, a religious. If they claim they're religious, it doesn't make sense, some of the things they say and do.
Okay, so if it comes to, you're talking about like Christian motivations for going through the motions, right? Or for like going to church, preaching and saying things?
I think he's asking, like, do these people actually believe it, or are they just in it to, like, benefit?
Yeah.
Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, basically,
Okay.
like, and not only like Christianity, but also like other religions, like you were just talking about Mormonism now, Scientology, all those sorts of things. Surely they're doing it just to take advantage of